Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC Vegas 69, and in the main event, we have a women's flyweight fight, Jéssica Andrade versus Erin Blanchfield, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction. Now, before I get into discussing the fight, and before I get into my prediction, we have to talk about UFC Vegas 69. Because this card is an atrocity. This is one of the worst fight cards I've ever seen on paper. I don't mind the main event. Honestly, Jéssica Andrade versus Erin Blanchfield is a fine main event. But Jordan Wright in a co-main event, Josh Parisian in the featured fight on the main card, this is one of the ugliest fight cards I've ever seen. And if I could get an appointment for the dentist on a Saturday night, I'd probably rather do that. That's how bad this card is outside of the main event. The original main event was Marlon Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen. But the UFC decided, the March card in San Antonio needed a main event. And why have Corey Sandhagen versus Marlon Vera at the Apex not in front of a large crowd when you can move it to the San Antonio card? So while I was happy that it got moved so it could be in front of a crowd, that left this card in really, really bad shape. And then the other original main event was supposed to be Taila Santos versus Erin Blanchfield. Well, a couple days ago, Taila Santos had to pull out of the fight, and Jéssica Andrade stepped in. So Jéssica Andrade is fighting Erin Blanchfield on 1 week's notice. But I do think this is a quality fight. I know a lot of people like to crap on women's MMA. I think Jéssica Andrade versus Erin Blanchfield is a really solid fight, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup. I think this is a fight where you have a young Erin Blanchfield making her way up the ranks, and she is getting a very steep test in Jéssica Andrade. And I know Jéssica Andrade apparently was going to go back down to strawweight after she beat up Lauren Murphy at UFC 283, but I guess she wanted to step in on short notice. I guess she's still in shape. She just fought a couple weeks ago at UFC Brazil and beat the living dog shit out of Lauren Murphy. And, I guess the UFC offered her this opportunity and she decided to step in, cash a paycheck. But Erin Blanchfield, I've been very high on her for a long time. But this is a massive step up. I mean, to go from Meatball Molly McCann to Jéssica Andrade is a serious test. But if she beats Jéssica Andrade, who is ranked in the top 5 at flyweight, who's a former champion at strawweight, who's a former title challenger at flyweight, Erin Blanchfield's going to propel herself into the title discussion at flyweight. It would not shock me if she defeats Jéssica Andrade. She may get the next title shot after Alexa Grasso. If Jéssica Andrade wins, she's kind of in a weird spot because then her last 2 wins would be at 125 pounds, but supposedly she's going back down to 115. So even though she would be on a decent win streak, my guess is she would probably have to earn a win at 115 before getting a title shot. But who knows? She would be right in that title discussion at 115. I doubt, as long as Valentina Shevchenko is the champion, I doubt that Jéssica Andrade is going to get another shot at the belt, even if she beats Erin Blanchfield. So I really think Jéssica Andrade is kind of in a weird spot. But if she does lose to Erin Blanchfield, I don't think it's the worst thing ever, because then she just hops on right back down to strawweight and people just forget about it and they look at Erin Blanchfield as a future title contender in a weight class above. So it won't discredit Jéssica Andrade too much. But this is a big fight for both girls, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup because I really want to see Erin Blanchfield test it. My favorite thing about fights like this is getting questions answered. And I really want to see how good is Erin Blanchfield. If you look at the tail of the tape for this fight, you have Andrade is 24-9. Blanchfield is 10-1. You have Andrade is ranked number 3 in the flyweight division. Erin Blanchfield ranked number 10. Andrade is 31. Blanchfield is 23. Andrade is 5'1". Blanchfield is 5'4". Andrade has a 62-inch reach, and Blanchfield has a 68-inch reach. So a 3-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage for Erin Blanchfield. If you look at Erin Blanchfield's pro MMA record, of her 10 wins, 2 by knockout, 3 by submission, 5 by decision. Her one loss is via decision, and it was all the way back in February of 2019 against Tracy Cortez. In the UFC, she is 4-0, and she's won 2 of them by stoppage, 2 via submission, 2 via decision. Her last fight was against Molly McCann back at UFC 281. Took her down, beat her up in the crucifix, found a Kimura. And this was a very dominant performance. But to be honest, I wasn't that impressed. I predicted Molly McCann to lose this fight. I really believe Molly McCann's not a good fighter. She's like one step away from a trash can. She was getting a lot of hype because she's hanging out with Patty Pimblett, and the UFC was giving her trash cans to knock out on big London cards. But Molly McCann did not have a great skill set. She's been around the UFC for a while. She's been exposed multiple times. But Erin Blanchfield went out there and did what she was supposed to do to McCann. The fight before that against JJ Aldridge, she submitted her via guillotine. This was back in June of 2022. Even though Blanchfield won this fight, I don't think it was all that impressive. I mean, she ate some shots on the feet from Aldridge. I believe she got taken down by Aldridge twice. She got back up, but it wasn't the easiest of fights, even though she was able to get the second round submission. She's a winner over Miranda Maverick, who people were super high on Miranda Maverick. She went out there and beat her via unanimous decision back at UFC 269. And then her UFC debut was against Sarah Alpar. So as you can see, her resume is okay. It's not the greatest. It's not the worst. I mean, Miranda Maverick is definitely her best win on her resume. It leaves a lot to be desired. And Jéssica Andrade is a massive step up in competition. I mean, Molly McCann is literally basically a garbage can. And Jéssica Andrade is a former world champion who could be fighting for a title in the next year again. You look at Jéssica Andrade, of her 24 wins, she has 9 by knockout, 8 by submission, 7 by decision. Of her 9 losses, she has 4 by knockout, 2 by submission, and 3 by decision. She's on a 3-fight winning streak. She last fought at UFC 283 January 21st, so only a couple weeks ago, and she beat Lauren Murphy up badly in this fight. A lot of people wanted the doctor to stop it. A lot of people wanted the ref to stop it. A lot of people wanted the corner to stop it. Ultimately, Lauren Murphy survived, but it could have been stopped by multiple parties. The fight before that, she submitted Amanda Lemos via arm triangle, standing arm triangle. I think it's the only time it's ever happened in the UFC, and Amanda Lemos is probably fighting for the title next. So that was a very solid win and an impressive win. It happened in the first round. The fight before that, she beat up Cynthia Calvillo and TKO'd her. And her last loss was against current flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko, where she was just basically taken down and beaten up and wasn't able to get up off her back against Valentina Shevchenko. And you look at Jéssica Andrade's, resume. She has losses to all the elites. She does not have a single loss in, notable recent history against a non-elite fighter. She has a loss to Rose Namajunas via split decision. And this was the 3-round rematch. Had this been 5 rounds, she would have won. She has a loss to Weili Zhang where she just got bulldozed in the first round. She is a winner over Rose Namajunas where she won the women's strawweight title. And she also has a loss to Joanna Jacek where she got outstruck. The other losses she has on her resume, Raquel Pennington and Mariana Renault, were at 135 pounds. 2 weight classes above where she typically fights, and 1 weight class above where she's fighting against Erin Blanchfield. So I think those are meaningless. And also Liz Carmouche, and there's some other names, but I'm just talking about primarily UFC losses in more recent history. You get back to the Raquel Pennington and Mariana Renault, that's 2015. So that's 8 years ago. Jéssica Andrade has drastically improved since then. The way I see this fight is Erin Blanchfield may come out and prove herself in this fight. This is a striker versus grappler fight where Jéssica Andrade is going to want to keep it standing and look to use her power shots. Jéssica Andrade is one of the very few women that have one-punch KO power. And Erin Blanchfield, she wants to come out and wrestle you. Now, I do think Erin Blanchfield has the wrestling advantage in this fight. I think Jéssica Andrade clearly has a massive striking advantage. And this fight is all going to depend on, can Erin Blanchfield weather the early storm, wear on Jéssica Andrade in the clinch, eventually get her to the ground and beat her up, maybe win a decision where Jéssica Andrade maybe gets tired because she wasn't training for another fight and she had just fought 3 weeks ago. Maybe she wasn't in the training room as much as she would normally be because she took some time off. But this is a tough fight to pick. I've been very high on Erin Blanchfield for a long time, and I was probably going to pick her against Talia Santos, but Talia Santos was a massive step up in competition as well. But Jéssica Andrade is such a different matchup from Taila Santos. Jéssica Andrade walks forward, she looks to chop your legs, and she looks to brutally KO you. And in this fight, it's hard for me to say that Jéssica Andrade is going to get taken down by Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield hasn't fought the best competition. Even though she's looked very good, the competition is very low level. Jéssica Andrade is only really getting out-grappled by Valentina Shevchenko. Not to say Erin Blanchfield isn't a great grappler, but I don't know if she's on the level of Valentina Shevchenko. I think she can be. I think maybe another year or so, I think she can get to the level of Valentina Shevchenko, especially with Valentina Shevchenko getting older, getting a little bit too comfortable, complacent as the champion. I think Erin Blanchfield could be a championship contender, and I think she could come out here, out-grapple Jéssica Andrade. But for me, looking at the experience, looking that Jéssica Andrade is in her prime, looking that Erin Blanchfield is going from Taila Santos to Jéssica Andrade, where Santos is a decent striker, but she's primarily a grappler as well, I have to go with Jéssica Andrade. I am going to go with Jéssica Andrade via second round TKO. Erin Blanchfield just leaves herself too susceptible on the feet. I think her entries to her takedowns aren't great. If JJ Aldridge is taking you down a couple times and defending your takedowns, I think Jéssica Andrade, with her power, getting the respect with her power, with her striking, I think Erin Blanchfield is going to have a trouble closing the distance, even though she has the reach and height advantage. And I think Jéssica Andrade is going to find a kill shot and put her down and then finish her off via ground and pound TKO. But it would not shock me if Erin Blanchfield came out here and was able to kind of keep the distance early and, weather the early storm. Jéssica Andrade throws some big power shots, and, Erin Blanchfield's backing away and pumping the jab, and then eventually gets in the clinch. It kind of wears on her a little bit, eventually gets her down for a little bit. Then it gets to the next round and just wears on her with the grappling, and eventually either wins a decision or gets a late round stoppage, like a third or fourth round, submission or TKO stoppage. But I just have a hard time believing going from Molly McCann to Jéssica Andrade, you're going to have massive success. But there also is that factor that Jéssica Andrade is coming in on short notice, 1 week's notice. But she just fought at 283. So, it's really hard to say. This is a very tough fight to pick. But ultimately, I think Erin Blanchfield leaves way too many openings on the feet. And I think Jéssica Andrade is good enough to stuff Erin Blanchfield's takedowns early and find a kill shot on the feet. So again, my official prediction is second round TKO Jéssica Andrade. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.